Strength and conditioning. Strength and conditioning is strengthening the mind and the body. And I'm going to focus on 3 different types of strength and conditioning today. One is general strength and conditioning, and that was what you would get 9 times out of 10 from a strength and conditioning specialist or a strength and conditioning coach. Sport-specific strength and conditioning, and that comes in the form of, if you're a wrestler, you get that from your wrestling coach. Generally speaking, you get stronger in the movements from doing those specific skills. Strength and conditioning the mind, and you can get that from anywhere. You can get it from books, you can get it from videos, you can get it from me, you can get it from your mom, you can get it from your dad. The idea behind strengthening and conditioning in all areas that are priorly just mentioned is that you will become the total and complete student athlete, or the total and complete person, so that nothing bothers you. You're strong enough to withstand anything that's thrown at you. Okay, so let's jump into the first topic here. Strength and conditioning physically is what I'm actually going to call it. Okay, so there are some things that you can do in the weight room and outside of the weight room that are called general types of strength, and I suggest anyone who wants to get stronger first be able to move their own body and control their own body. Now, what do I mean by that? Here it comes. Push-ups, sit-ups, any other type of exercise that you can do with your own body without any other apparatus or apparatuses. Anything that would be added to your body at this point is not needed, because you first need to learn how to control your own body, and then as you can control your own body and you can handle your own weight with an assortment of tumbling skills, acrobatic skills, some of the calisthenics that I just mentioned before, lunges, dips, squats, push-ups. I mean, there's an endless list. There's tons of different types of exercises that you can do with your abdominal area section. I mean, you probably on your own can probably think of 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 different exercises that you can do for your stomach or core or back area, ab work, a lot of people call it, so that it's really explanatory and you understand quickly. Anytime you will exercise one part of your body, let's use the front part for instance, you need to exercise the same back part. Or if I exercise this muscle here, biceps some people call it, then I need to exercise this muscle here, triceps a lot of people call that. If you couldn't see it in the camera, just again, there's usually 2 sides of the body. There's a front part and there's a back part, or there's a top part and there's a bottom part. We always want to have a balance with the muscles. If the muscles are overbalanced or underbalanced, that's a lot of times when injuries actually occur, because it's pulling too much on this side or it's not strong enough. So in order to have it be balanced, the muscle or the tendon or the cartilage, sometimes it will rip. Or if you're in other types of areas, you may not be strong enough to support or withstand the blow that's actually coming at you. If you look at, I'll give you an example. If you look at novice wrestlers, maybe they just started, and an elite wrestler that's been in the sport for 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 years, and you get somebody, generally they won't even be wrestling each other, because there's such a difference in strength, generally speaking, and skill and experience, that they're not going to be in the same tournaments. And there's a risk of injury actually for both sides, because the highest level of any sport, they do things almost it looks like, you know, there's no effort at all, but there's a skill to what they're doing. On the other hand, a novice, man, they're all over the place. They have no idea what they're doing. So when a novice wrestles an expert, for instance, or in any sport, there's a chance for both people to actually get hurt just because of the skill difference. And the novice probably is going to give different reactions to the expert. When 2 experts wrestle, it looks almost like they're dancing, or a ballet, or it looks like a painting of some sort, because they're going tit for tat for each other. All right, getting back to the whole strength and conditioning physical component, you need to have awareness of your body, being able to move your body fluidly. And again, I submit that you need to be able to do push-ups and sit-ups and other types of calisthenics, acrobats, and gymnastics first, and then you would move into what some people like to call the weight room. or you would, you know, at that point, now you would, once you can handle your own body weight, now you would actually go outside your body weight. Okay, so that's just real general. You can talk to a strength and conditioning coach to get a little bit more information, but I want to point out there are 3 different types that we're going to focus on, and so that you're aware you need all of them to be at the highest level in sport, and I suggest maybe also in your life, because I think even if you're not in sport, you need to exercise so that your body is healthy. Sport-specific strength and conditioning. What does that mean? Because our bodies are wrestlers or football players or basketball players, we develop specific strength in the movements that we're used to. What does that mean? If I do double legs over and over and over again, I develop a different set of muscles than a swimmer would develop. Does that make sense? Because a swimmer is continuously doing this range of motion over and over and over again, they actually get stronger in that movement. Let's bring it back to wrestling. If we get stronger in the movements that we're doing, what happens? See if you can come up with your own answer there. If we get stronger in the movement becomes more efficient, meaning we can do it maybe a little bit faster, and effective. Maybe it's easier to execute because we're not like the novice where we're learning it and there is a response. Am I doing it right or this? You're confident in the movement and it's like there's a muscle memory built. So that's what I mean when I say strength and conditioning sports specifically. And we get that strength and conditioning sports specifically, you know, from an organized training plan. Our coach is making us do this and we want to do it, so it's not like the coach is making us doing it. We're subscribing to his ability or her ability to teach us how to become great, so we follow their game plan. Now, of course, the better you get at the sport specific movements, i.e. the stronger you get at that movement, then the more effective you will be at that particular skill. If you watch some of the other videos, just going back, you need to have a strategy and you need to have a game plan and you need to have a set of mental skills as well to go along with those physical sport specific skill movements to be at the highest level. Notwithstanding everything that I just said, so understand that there is a strength and conditioning component with the sport specific skill movements as well, and how you develop that. I would suggest first you do the general strengthening of your body, right? I suggest that and this is what they did a lot of times in sports schools back in Europe, back in the day, let's say 50s, 60s, 70s. They tested kids and they put them in sports schools and they would gradually build their fitness. And then they would have them specialize in sport. And that's what we did, I think, probably from the 70s and the 80s and the 90s in the USA. Physical education was designed to do that. Physical education in the USA was designed to give you an overall education in fitness. And then they, what did they do? 4 weeks of this, 4 weeks of that, 4 weeks of this, 4 weeks of that. And then by the end of the school year, you are well-rounded physically in the education component. You do 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 years of that. Now you're theoretically you should be a good athlete. And that's kind of how the educational system works too, by the way. After you've had 9 or 10 or 12 years, you should have an overall education and be ready for the real world and or college or the military or whatever. Getting back to sports specific skills, if you are inclined to generally fitness your body first, then you go into sport and then you develop those sport specific strength and conditioning with the movements that your coach is teaching you. Now you may be more inclined to strengthen the mind. And I submit and suggest you should be strengthening the mind all through those areas as well. If you have a proficient coach, he is actually and she is actually working with you on the mental component too. Several videos ago, we talked about mental flexibility, and this is where strength and conditioning of the mind comes in. I'm just going to give you a few things off the top of my head that are essential, I think, for strength and conditioning of the mind. Self-talk, what is it? How do you do it? Imagery, what is it? How do you do it? Adversity, what is it? How do you overcome it? Those are just 3 areas that I think if you spend some time researching those and or learning what they are and how they can be a part of your ultimate game plan for success in sport and in life, then I think you will become unstoppable, as it were. So again, strength and conditioning of the mind goes hand in hand with strength and conditioning of the body. Strength and conditioning of the body is broken down into a general and then a sport specific. Strength and conditioning of the mind should, right along the way, go along with those 2 other components. So you are strength and conditioning your mind when you're doing the other 2, and you ask yourself, well, how is that? How can you do that? in order for you to get good at anything, you need to practice, and I've been saying that throughout the videos. And once you understand practice and what you need to be doing in practice, you can start to challenge yourself. Well, that was a little bit easy for me. I need to challenge myself. And if you, of course, hopefully you're in a periodized training plan so the coach understands what's going on with that, but you can ask your coach, Coach, I know how to do this. Can you give me something else so I can become better at it? Or you can challenge yourself. Maybe do one more push-up. Maybe do one more repetition. A lot of times, and you have to be careful, you can do just one more repetition, and that sometimes, if you add it up over the course of the year, now that can make a difference. Now, doing 10 more, 30 more, 50 more, 60 more, 100 more, you may run into under recovery and or overtraining with that, so you need to be very careful. Again, going back to strength and conditioning of the mind, there are things that you can do to strengthen your mind, and one way of strengthening your mind is to challenge yourself. How can I challenge myself? I can do something that I don't necessarily normally want to do. Maybe that comes in the form of reading books on mental toughness. Maybe that comes in the form of sticking around after practice and executing skills that you didn't want to do, or maybe doing 5 or 6 more pull-ups after practice. That can come in the form of watching your own videos. And it's difficult sometimes to watch your matches when you've lost them, but in order to get better, in order to grow, in order to develop, we need to have the mental fortitude to be able to, you know what, okay, I'm going to learn from that and I'm going to move on. So that is another way that you can develop your mind, and that's a way that you can strengthen it and condition it. The conditioning component comes in when you're consistently doing it, and that is for all of the things that we've talked about. To get stronger and then stop means you're not conditioning. Strength and conditioning combined means you're continually going in a direction of progress. And of course you need a coach to help you to understand how to do that, so it is in a periodized plan so you're not overtraining. So I hope you have a better understanding of those 3 components of strength and conditioning. I do not think you can do one without the other. I think they all need to be integrated so that you can reach whatever your goals may be. Strength and conditioning. Remember, you can find out more information like this at youtube.com/Coach Shannon. Coach Shannon Talks.